Wow.
No, Thomas, not now. You're on a bit later. We're just about to start. No. If you could just...
Sorry about that. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, that's great. We're the co-founders of 50 Years. We're excited to, for the first time, give you an inside look at some of the things we've been building.
You'll hear from a few members of the 50 Years team, folks like George Church, the father of synthetic biology, Tom Preston-Werner, the founding CEO of GitHub, and everyone's favorite CEO of Pied Piper, Thomas Middleditch.
There he is. He's back. Oh.
No. We were just explaining that you'll be on later.
Seth, I hear my name. I walk on stage.
They'll call you. We won't. They'll call you. They'll tell you.
You'll call me.
Yep. If you could just... Thanks.
Someone better call me.
Yeah, thanks. We've never been more optimistic about the future. From the climate crisis to disease to connectivity to inequality to aging. 50 Years portfolio founders are building solutions to all these things. And they won't stop there. Their work will bring us a future of sustainable abundance, good health for everyone, and a connected and thriving world.
These are important things, and we take our responsibility to support our founders seriously. Our goal is to help them manifest their visions for a better world.
And we feel a fierce urgency in helping these founders build better and move faster. If a marketing startup is delayed in launching, the business might suffer, but people won't.
Our founders are helping stop the climate crisis, connect the world, cure cancer. Some are developing therapeutics for untreatable diseases.
Every week sooner they get to market is real lives saved. Families that get to celebrate healing instead of mourning loss. Giving our founders the support they need requires a different kind of VC firm. Not one that operates like a law firm, but one that runs like the startups we back. They need a partner that builds.
We're excited to, for the first time, show you some of the things we've been building.
At 50 Years, few things excite us more than building products to better support our founders. One of the first tools we built was a Series A CRM maker. Instead of sending an email with a dozen firms they might want to raise from, we deliver our founders a beautiful CRM pre-populated with which partners at which firms they should talk to and why. It includes information like how closely 50 Years is connected to each lead and which other portfolio companies they've backed. This helps our founders raise, but we asked ourselves, how could we make it 10 times better? What if we could help guarantee a warm intro to any top investor a 50 Years founder wants to talk to? Now, we can. Introducing 50 Years Network. Using LinkedIn and other data, this tool enables our founders to see into the networks of every other 50 Years founder and easily request intros. Now, not only can founders see which investors at which firms we know, they can see which investors at which firms other 50 Years founders know. We've also allowed them to predefine their blurb and upload their deck so that with only 2 clicks, they can request an intro. Click 1, click 2. See? It's so easy to use. By allowing them to benefit from the networks of every other 50 Years founder, this tool will 50x the reach of our founders when fundraising. But we're not stopping here. Next, we'll extend the tool to biz dev introductions and to talent. Introductions can be the lifeblood of any business. Our goal is to 50x the networks of our founders to ensure they get introduced to the people they need every time. There's nothing better than founders helping founders. 50 Years founders already share their knowledge. Now, they can share their networks too.
There's a ton of money for basic research. About $100 billion was spent on R&D in American research universities just last year. There's a similar amount of funding available from VCs once it's shown that the science has commercial potential. The bad news is that there's a huge gap. There are few funding options for translational research. Often, after the basic science is done, there's just a little more lab work necessary to show commercial potential. VCs won't fund this because there's still too much risk. The NSF and NIH won't fund this because it's not basic science. And PIs often don't want to fund it because academia rewards papers, not translation. And this is a big problem because many solutions to disease, aging, the climate crisis, and other big problems are stuck in academic labs. That's why we launched Manifest Grants. Manifest Grants is fast funding for translational science. Grants are up to 100K. The application takes 30 minutes to complete. You get a response in 21 days, and no IP is taken. There are 0 strings attached. This works. We launched a granting program for female reproductive health and received 465 applications from nearly every top research university in the world. We granted 12 amazing projects, and researchers absolutely loved it. I'm excited to announce today that we are launching Manifest Climate, fast funding for synthetic biology climate research. SynBio is accelerating with new gene editing tools, better DNA synthesis, high throughput everything, and new computational techniques. SynBio has largely focused on healing human health. It brought us synthetic insulin, engineered cells to fight cancer, and mRNA COVID vaccines. Now we need to heal the planet. We have amazing scientific reviewers on board, like Jay Kiesling of UC Berkeley, the father of metabolic engineering, Pamela Silver of Harvard, one of the most prolific bioclimate scientists, and Jennifer Brophy of Stanford, doing some of the most interesting work in plant biology. We couldn't be more excited about Manifest Climate. And stay tuned, because there's a lot more to come.
Now, Seth? Oh, God. Okay. To better support founders, 50 Years has assembled the League of Giants as their investors. 50 Years LPs, like myself, include some of the most accomplished founders of the last decades, titans of business, true visionaries who have made their dent in the universe. This is bad. Who wrote this? Okay, well, look, 50 Years has some real G's as investors, okay? Like the coolest dudes and dudettes in the startup world, like the guy who invented that box that you just drop stuff in there. It's the box, the what is it? Dropbox.com, and the app. You can get it on the app as well, I think. Maybe that's just Google Drive. Anyway, the founders who built Skype, It's not, Zoom kind of really. But, that's the pandemic, so don't worry about that. It's classic COVID. Anyway, the Snowflake founder, which, you better watch what you say around him. He's a little sensitive. It's just goofing around, Rovio, they did Angry Birds, and Angry Birds was so popular they made a movie out of that. So you got all kinds of really exciting stuff. Spotify, their new AI DJ, I think might be flirting with me, and I'm okay with it. Twitch.tv/Middleditch. That's right, I'm on there, I'm gaming. Please give us a follow, give us a subscription. Let's see what else. And Astronus, who is putting big old hunks of metal up in the sky and beaming us directly into the brain with internet. So good to have brain internet. Is it directly into the brain? It's not directly into the brain. It's not neural internet. Not there yet. I'm sure you guys are working on it. Nanobots. Let's see what else. Solugen, who they have chemicals. They have chemicals. So Solugen's got all the chemicals, and they're putting them in all kinds of things. Water, food, baby formula. Just kidding. I don't know what they're doing with it. Upstart, more like startup. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been my time. You guys have a great conference. Is this for a conference? It's not for a conference. You're probably at home on the internet checking your email. This is on an email newsletter, and I hope you've enjoyed the newsletter. Peace.
And now we'll hear from GitHub founding CEO, Tom Preston-Werner. We are here at the Kennedy Space Center for the launch of Astronis' first satellite, one of our shared portfolio companies.
Yep.
It's a very exciting day, although there are tornadoes outside literally right now.
We are sheltering.
We're sheltering in place, so we figured to take the opportunity to record this video. As you know, at 50 years, we've assembled what we call the League of Giants, which is 46 founders of billion-dollar-plus tech companies to help us better support our founders. You obviously have incredible experience from your time founding GitHub. Why is it useful at all to have founders helping other founders?
I think it's important because you really can't understand this game of running a startup, unless you've been there before. It's so different, it's so hard, there's so many things that come up and so many experiences you have that other people aren't going to appreciate or understand. And so having people who have been in that seat before and felt that pressure, that's something that's really unique.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And it's each founder has their own personal journey. And our thought was that by assembling 46 incredible founders, we could essentially guarantee that any problem or any solution that a founder needed help with, they could get right in their network. For you, why were you excited to join the 50 Years League of Giants?
I love the kinds of companies that you support. I love the thesis around deep tech combined with social impact, combined with big money-making endeavors. Like that to me really spoke to me. I love that you are intentional in that way, and the kinds of companies that you find are outside what I normally see in my day-to-day as more in the software realm. And so bringing in that broader set of companies to me was really, really exciting. Like high tech, like the best kind of, sci-fi worthy high tech companies, like launching satellites into geostationary orbit, like that kind of stuff. That's why I'm here. I love that they're building a new product for geostationary. It's normally these giant, massive satellites that go up there and serve like huge geographic areas. And they're taking the play to make that smaller, to make micro geo satellites and serve smaller areas, but to be able to get more satellites up more quickly. And that idea of just moving more quickly, iterating, being able to use the latest technology, using software-defined radio, I loved it. And the commercial case is really solid, and I love John, and it felt right.
Cool. Well, we're happy to have you on that adventure. Happy to have you on our adventure.
Thank you.
Reporting to you live from the Kennedy Space Center. This is Tom Preston-Werner and Seth Bannon, and we're out. We're really excited to show you something we've built that we think is the best way to stay on top of the latest and greatest scientific research. A big part of our time is spent reading academic literature. We read through papers looking for science that could be turned into a startup. When we find it, we reach out to the scientists to see if they could use our support. The bad news for us is that nearly 2 million scientific journal articles are published each year. That's 5,500 per day. If you worked a 10-hour day with no breaks, you'd need to read one paper every 7 seconds just to keep up. And let me tell you, these aren't 7-second reads. So we wondered, what if there was a way to programmatically stay on top of the latest science? And so we built the Paper Scraper. The Paper Scraper follows hundreds of scientists on social media that have great taste in translatable science. As soon as they tweet a link to a paper, we fetch the paper and pull it into the app. This way, we guarantee that we don't miss interesting research. We designed the app to let us quickly decide if the science has commercial potential. It pulls in tweets about the paper so we can follow the discussion among scientists on social media. It pulls out the abstract. With a click, we can learn more about the lead authors and what they've done in the past. And we've also built our own AI assistant, Spinout GPT. We use it to generate a few ideas for how this science might be commercialized. And if we have questions about the methodology or the sample size or the conclusions, instead of parsing the paper to find the answers, we simply ask Spinout GPT our question in plain English. Did they show this works in cell culture or tissues? Cool. How is LightSeq better than single-cell sequencing? Neat. Okay, I think I'll reach out to the authors. With a single click, we can create a drip email campaign to the lead authors to see if they have any plans to commercialize and to offer our support. Something that would have taken an hour if we ever even saw the paper can now be done in under a minute. Helping world-class scientists become world-class entrepreneurs is in our DNA at 50 years. And the paper scraper will allow us to do that on a much bigger scale.
Spinning research out of a university into a startup is one of the greatest levers we have to solve the world's biggest problems. Unfortunately, it's a long, opaque, and oftentimes nonsensical process. At 50 years, we've helped dozens of our founders navigate every step of this process. And we've created programs like 50/50 to help even more scientists commercialize their research. But that left over 100,000 scientists in academia that we didn't reach. Helping more science get from the lab bench to the benefit of all is too important to be rate limited by the hours in our day. That's why we built the Spinout Playbook. We took what we learned helping our founders, interviewed 40 more PhDs who spun out, a dozen tech transfer officers, and partners at top law firms, and spent 6 months building the ultimate guide to spinning out of a university. It answers the common questions PhDs and postdocs have, like, is my science ready to commercialize? How should I choose a co-founder? When should I talk to my tech transfer office? The Spinout Playbook covers in depth how to negotiate an IP license from a university, including what to focus on and common pitfalls. We dive deep into specific licensing terms and their acceptable ranges, things like equity, anti-dilution, milestone payments, royalties, and fields of use. We give advice on when and how a scientist should approach their PI about spinning out. We cover everything in those 35 pages. This is the comprehensive guide to spinning out of academia. And we've released it for free to everyone. Because positive change in this world is directly tied to how many scientific entrepreneurs there are. Synthetic insulin, transistors, and search engines were all university spinouts. Imagine what the world would look like if 10x more PhDs spin out. We're really proud of the Spinout Playbook and hope it helps thousands of scientists take their first steps towards starting a startup.
And now we'll hear from the father of synthetic biology, Professor George Church.
When I started out, I wasn't sure that PhD entrepreneurship was important, but by trial and error, I found that by far the most motivating is to have the inventors and the people who had worked as students and postdocs be in charge. And just empirically, it was just amazing to see how much more motivated they were and creative than when they would join a big company where it wasn't always clear that all the vectors were aligned. I liked inventing, I liked technology, and that's pretty closely related to translation, but not indelibly. But you quickly learn, or I did, that you can't just publish papers on technology and hope for the best, because usually nobody listens. I tell my people, don't worry about people stealing your stuff, worry about your stuff never getting adopted by anybody. And so that's what translation is more about than just, you got a great technology, but you need to accompany it. You need to put in the sweat equity into figuring out what's the difference in the technology in an academic high-tech environment versus where it's going to finally be needed. What have I seen so far that or has helped and could help PhD scientists become leaders? Investment funds that think deeply about the individual scientists. I think 50 years is an example of one of those that really favors the PhD leaders, and they've helped out 5 of my companies: Manifold, Nabla, 64X, Helix Nano, and Tierra Bio. And that seems to be an experiment that's working pretty well.
Breakthrough science trapped in the lab benefits nobody. Startups are the best way to bring these breakthroughs into the world. The best people to build those startups are the scientists who invented that technology. In Silicon Valley, starting a startup is easy because you're surrounded by founders who can help show the way. But for scientists in academia, finding a community like this is hard. Some labs will literally kick out any scientist interested in starting a startup. That's why we started 50/50. 50/50 connects amazing scientists from top labs who are interested in starting startups and teaches them everything they need to know to get started. We invite our own PhD founders to talk about their journeys. They share how they found their co-founders, how they got their first investors, how they decided it was the right time to start. And we teach essential startup skills, like how to build a deck, how to tell one story, how to pitch to investors and recruits. 50/50 is working. Our first cohort, 14 companies got started, including Primordium, overnight plasmid sequencing, digital biology, unlocking the power of spatial biology, and Medra, automating repetitive wet lab tasks. And these incredible companies came out of our first cohort. With 50/50, we're doubling down on biology, but I'm also excited to announce that we're launching 50/50 Climate to ensure the greatest climate scientists have the chance to become the greatest climate founders. With 50/50, we aim to give world-class scientists the community and knowledge they need to become world-class entrepreneurs. If we do that, more scientists will start startups, and more science will move from the lab bench to the benefit of all.
We're proud of all we've built to support founders solving the world's biggest problems, and there's a lot more to come. We're also incredibly proud that 50 Years is the first to back so many exceptional founders.
We were the first to back Solugen. When we backed them, the company was just the founders, Sean and Gaurav, in a prototype reactor made with PVC pipes and wood from Home Depot, literally held together with twist ties. They're now a $100 million annual run rate, $2 billion company with a gorgeous 63-foot-tall bioforge operational in Houston, Texas. We were the first VC to back Astronis when it was just the founders, John and Ryan, and an idea on a whiteboard. They've now closed about $1 billion in contracted revenue for their services, have put satellites in space, assembled an incredible team of around 300, and are a $1.4 billion company. We recently joined them at NASA Kennedy Space Center, where their Arcturus satellite launched on a Falcon Heavy.
We were the first VC to back Substack when it was just the founders and a prototype. That sort of worked. With 35 million active subscriptions, they're now the go-to solution for independent writers. They've created a new business model for journalists and paid out over $300 million to writers.
6 of the teams we backed in our Fund 1 are now worth $1 billion or more. That's almost 1 in 5, all backed from pre-seed or seed. That's one of the best ratios out there, and a testament to our founders and to a belief at the core of everything we do, that companies solving the truly big problems are the absolute best opportunities. We're excited to continue supporting these founders.
The PhD in a lab whose platform will enable new therapies. The SpaceX engineer building a solution to the climate crisis. The scientist engineer helping accelerate biology.
We're excited to help build a future of sustainable abundance, good health for everyone, and a connected and thriving world. If you want to build with us, get in touch. Thanks for watching.